And Ki Fayda, indeed Ki Fayda. Well, now on to health matters, and we all have a tendency to slouch, and I know I certainly do. I've developed a bit of a bad posture, but now a health expert says we need to take control of our bodies and the food we eat. Nisha Srivastava is a health and wellness expert and has taught professional footballers to singers like Sting, and she specialises in Pilates and has devised her own special programme based on 6 principles. And let's find out more from Nisha herself. She joins me now. Good evening.
Good evening, Talat.
How are you? You all right?
Good, TK,
right.
TK.
TK, that was very good. Maybe Tiku. So thanks for coming in. Now, let's, first of all, before we talk about Pilates and your particular expertise, let's find out a little bit more about yourself. How did you become a health and wellness expert?
Well, I've always had that interest, and my father is from Lucknow and my mother's English, and my mother was a little bit of a hippie chick and my father's in medicine, so we've always had health in the family. So I originally started out in dance, and in my 20s I worked for Devanand in Bollywood over in India, in Bombay, and I worked for Sunil Anand, who's his son.
His son, yeah.
So I got to tour all over India, and I always played the baddie part or the vamp part. And really, when I retired, I wanted to do something different. So from dance and theatre, I opened a Pilates studio, and I studied in Toronto with Stop Pilates, and I've now developed my own programme, which I run at a number of professional football clubs and a number of rugby clubs across the UK.
Right.
And the highlight of my career has been going on tour with the England RFL and teaching them my combination. And now I'm based in Manchester City Centre with PilatesManchester.com at the Yoga Lounge on Deansgate.
Okay, so clearly you've had quite a career there, but I'm going to go back just to, because I'm really curious now, Devanand, and I do remember actually interviewing Devanand many years ago. Obviously, sadly, he passed away, because his son then came over here, and Devanand himself, to Liverpool, I think.
That's
and
correct.
They were looking for some talent there. And there was an old presenter whose name I forget now, but used to also be an actor.
That's right. Is it Vijay Kumar?
Vijay, yes, that's right.
Vijay Kumar was actually in the Master film with me as well. And Vijay's still very, very active in the Bollywood and Indian theatre and film.
Right. It's been many years, I think over 15 years before last time I think I spoke to him, actually, Vijay. So what was life like in Bollywood then, and how did you sort of land yourself in Mumbai?
Well, it was amazing because I trained in Liverpool at Merseyside Dance and Drama Centre as a dancer and a teacher, and Sunil came over to the UK looking for a dancer, and he said I very much reminded him of a very old Indian film star called Helen, who used to dance in all the very, very old Indian films. So I went across to Bombay, and this film was based on martial arts, and it was really exciting, and we travelled from Bombay to Mysore to Coorg to Ooty. We filmed in the Mysore Palace, and it was just amazing. And as you know, the Indian films go on for many, many hours, and it was just amazing the people I met. Got to act with Harish Patel, who also starred in Coronation Street here. So some very famous people, and it's just so nice to see, because Indian people really embrace the dance culture and the theatre and the movies, and their movies or Bollywood is their escapism. So I mixed from really, really high calibre actors right to the man on the street, and it was just amazing, and having lunch and having dinner with all the cameramen and things. And it's the experience you have and the people that you meet in India as you travel which make you the person you are.
Yeah. Wow, that's an amazing experience to have, and then obviously to build up on. So then from that you went into health and wellness. So tell us a little bit about your style of health, and your expertise basically is Pilates, isn't it?
That's right.
So for those who don't understand what that is, if you could expand on that.
Well, first of all, I've devised my own programme, which is called corrective exercise. And one of the methods I use is Pilates. And Pilates comes from many, many years ago from a German guy called Joseph Pilates. And he was interned in World War I in the prison of war camps. And he devised a series of exercises to maintain strength and stamina and build muscle tone. And he took the springs off the hospital beds and attached them to the legs and arms as a series of pulleys. So I use this as a corrective exercise program to help people with their posture. Now, what we have to remember, and this is where people go wrong, is the body works as a full chain. So what people do is they sit at home and they look at the shopping channel and they think, I'm going to buy an ab machine, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to buy a quick pill, or I'm going to have a shake and get my abs flat in 21 days. There are 6 principles which help the body to be healthy and to be functional and to fight disease. And if we address the body as a whole, we have a fully functional, healthy body.
Right. Okay. Now you have your own program, which is Rapid Results, and you have 6 basic principles.
That's right.
So should we go through them? The first one is thoughts, isn't it?
It is. Well, Gandhi always said, "The thoughts be your thoughts. Man becomes what he thinks about." So you have to think about it. So we have 80,000 thoughts a day. 80% are negative. And how does that affect the body? So you've got to remember the body is an emotional, mental, and spiritual being. So our thoughts become our words become our deeds, and our deeds become our actions. So if we're thinking negative all the time, that's going to have an influx on not only us, but the people around it.
But I suppose that's what we tend to do, though, don't we? Generally in life, when we're out and about and we're thinking, we've got to deal with the bills, got problems with the kids, problems at home. So it's there all the time.
It is there all the time.
How do you then clear your mind of all that?
Well, you go back to the old Indian traditions of meditation and looking at some of the quotes and some affirmations. And affirmations are just short sentences of saying, and you have to think, is the glass half full or half empty? It's our approach we have in situations, and our approach to stress, on our approach to one another, is what our outcome becomes.
Okay, and the second principle is breathing. And as I was about to read that, I thought I need to take a big deep breath there. So what about breathing? Are we talking about yoga traditional breathing?
Well, not just yoga traditional breathing in general. So 70 to 75% of visits to the doctor are actually caused by improper breathing patterns. And it's safe to say that we need to breathe in order to survive. So in fact, if you don't breathe for 3 minutes, the brain actually starts to die. When we don't breathe properly, it affects our pH balance, our primary function of the diaphragm, and it shows as stress. And most of us, and most people I work with, even a lot of yogis and a lot of professional athletes, will be taking short, sharp breaths. And short, sharp breathing is associated with fear. So we want to use that traditional breathing of how you see babies, and that's breathing from the belly, and that is taught in yoga. And then we have a calmness which comes from the belly upwards, and we're not straining in our neck and our shoulders, and you can really see this in people. So again, it's getting rid of that fear and breathing deeply and calmer.
I think I better do that as well when I'm presenting the programme.
Yes.
Breathing from the top and not from the belly.
Breathing from the belly, not from the top. The body has to work as a whole. So 2/3 of the breath should start in the belly, and then it should come up to the diaphragm. But we want to look at babies.
So a nice deep,
Yeah.
That's right.
That's
okay,
right.
That's better. Okay. And number 4, hydrate. Number 3 is sleep.
Sleep, that's right. Well, our sleep, or our circadian pattern, is so important. So our circadian pattern is, ideally, everybody should be in bed from 10 till 10:30 at night. Our physical repair takes place from 10 till 12 p.m. midnight. Then our mental repair is from 12 p.m. midnight till 6 a.m. in the morning. And then our mindful, or our highest releases of cortisol, are from 6 a.m. onwards. So if you're a shift worker, or you're going to bed late at night when you've been out partying and you try to lie in, you're going to miss those vital hours of physical repair. So it's very, very important to get that sleep pattern. And one of the things we notice in the community, in everybody from Western people to Asian people right across the globe, is a collection of fat coming around the stomach. Now, when that fat comes around the stomach, it's to do with the adrenal glands and the cortisol levels. So when we get better sleep, we are less likely to put on weight around the stomach.
Right, okay.
And that's very important.
Yeah, and that's something we will look into a little bit more later. Because we are running out of time. I'm going to go through the other 3 points now. We've got 4, hydration, nutrition, and movement. So if you could combine those 3 and tell us.
Right, well, the body is 70% water, and we have 70 billion reactions to water. So we need to drink a minimum of 2 litres a day. So we need to cut out as much tea and coffee and all our fruit juices. And if we don't have enough water, the body's not going to be functioning as a whole, and we will constantly be dehydrated. So we don't need to be looking at all these creams and everything. For the food and nutrition, particularly with it coming up to Ramadan and in the Indian cuisine and culture, it's now become a modern trendy thing to cut ghee out the diet and cook in sunflower oil. This is a no-no. We need to go back to traditional Indian cooking the way my grandma Amma did, and use the ghee, because the ghee is pure clarified butter, and get rid of the sunflower oil.
That's quite a statement to make, isn't it, Nisha? Because lots of medics out there say, oh, stay away from the ghee because, clarified butter, no good for you, cholesterol will rise and whatnot.
Well, it's everything in quantity and moderation, and what we have to remember is our biggest enemy is sugar. So when anything says low fat, it means more sugar, and we want to use that ghee and get used to doing our Indian cookery from scratch, and going back to the roti and looking at baking our pakora and eating high protein and more vegetables above the ground, and soaking our rice and lentils and doing more preparation time like it was done in the old days, rather than rushing, because all this rushing around and doing the quick Indian food and buying the sauces is no good. It's full of sugar, I'm afraid.
And finally, movement.
Right, now the movement, this is where it's important to keep moving. Now, exercise at a cellular level can actually be stressful. So this is where Pilates comes in. So Pilates is slow, gentle exercise, focusing on core stability and alignment and precision. So it causes the mind to take a focus, and you will get real reactions and better tone and a better upright posture. And this is where my rapid results comes in, that I'm using a method or a machine called the Pilates Reformer, plus addressing these 6 principles.
Okay, well, you can check out my Twitter picture at BBC Lancashire to see me in action with Nisha trying to give me a lesson or two with Pilates. Nisha, thank you for the moment, and we will speak to you in the coming weeks to look at more around health and nutrition.